I'm set up in our conference room. I was actually in here working on a new client. We're coming up with a campaign for them, and I was looking at my Twitter or my Facebook Messenger and my Twitter of all the questions that I get. Hey everybody, again, thanks for coming on. If you are, I'm going to invite a couple of people while I'm telling you. Getting you set up, I wanted to make sure that the feed shows up, it's clear. Let me see if the sound is working. Okay, so the sound is working. So I get a lot of questions. I try to answer the questions, as I can, but sometimes it's better to just jump on here because Facebook gives me the ability to do that. Hey, Bridget, Irene, Jillian. So I'm going to have, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell you a quick story. One of the messages I get a lot of is, you're doing something when you get a lot of, I don't know if they call them trolls or haters, whatever. I mean, I don't really care, really. It doesn't bother me that people message me, and I get everything across the board. Like, you think a lot about yourself. Don't you have anything better to do? I mean, I get, I'm sure some of you have experienced these things. And to tell you the truth, that shit don't bother me at all. Actually, I'm like, I must be, pulling up something inside of them. Hey, Nancy, that they are, jealous or something. So that's the way, when you look at it that way, it's all about perspective, right? So I don't really care. And, hey, they got their own issue. I mean, I understand that, everybody does things differently. I do it differently than they do, and it's vice versa. So I don't really care. I mean, hey, they must be, they're thinking about me, right? Because they're writing me. So, anyway, let's see, we got the sound is working. So, one of the things is that people are like, why do you do these? Hey, Jennifer, why do you do these Facebook Lives? And the main reason is so people can get to know me. I mean, it's the same reason why. I mean, I guess I could say the same thing. Why do people go to networking events, right? They go to networking events so they can meet people, and so people can get to know them, so they can start a conversation and start a relationship. I mean, duh. I mean, it's just I'm using the tool. I'm like in the 2017 era and using the tools that are available to me. What's going on, Carmelo? So it's like, I posted, it's like we're all in the people business, right? We're not necessarily in the selling widgets or clothes or real estate or anything. At the end of the day, we're all in the people business. And really what that means is we're all in the marketing business. See, I mean, most people don't see those two as one and the same, but it is really. I mean, all marketing is targeting the people that will be interested in your product and letting people know, the most amount of people know about your service, right? So, that's why I do these, so people can get to know me. And there's people out there who won't like me, and there's people who will. I mean, I can't remember who it was. They said, no matter what you do, there's always 50% of the people who will like you and 50% of the people who won't. So I just took that and I go, okay, I agree with that. So then it's just, how big is my 50%, right? And using the tool like Facebook, if I only talk to 10 people a day, and you take that premise, hey Lisa, thanks for coming on. Then half of them may not like me, so only 5 people, a day. And I don't mean like me in the sense of like, oh, make me feel good. It's like, maybe want to do business with me, and those types, because you don't have to always agree with everything that somebody says and have them as a friend. I mean, look at your family and look at your parents and look at your sisters and look at your best friend. You don't always agree on certain things. You usually don't agree on the guy that you're dating or the girl you're dating sometimes. Let's see, sure, can't wait to hear the story. Okay, good. I'm going to get to the story, but I just felt it compelled to at least tell, because not just for me, that when you come on and people start writing you, because the more you do and the more you get of something, the more positive you get, the more negative you get. So you got to be prepared for those things as you move through, that there's people out there that you stir up insecurities in. And it's something they have to deal with, not something you should have to deal with. So the reason I do these is because I want people to get to know me. And when you meet me, I hope that the person that you built up in your mind is the person that I am that you meet in person, that the one that you've seen online. Because I try to be that same person. It's never more disappointing than when you maybe when you were younger. If you're a guy, you meet the baseball or football player and the basketball player that you built up in your mind who they were, and then you meet them and they're assholes, and you're like so disappointed. Or we probably experienced that, right? Energy vampires, exactly. So anyway, so it's like, well, just understand that some people like you, some don't, and be fine with that. Just make the more 50%, because if a million people knew you, then you had 500,000 people that liked you. So that's not a bad, or like the stuff you were doing. Again, it's not about liking you to make you feel good. So hopefully the lighting's good. I'm checking on my phone here, make sure it's good. It looks good on my phone, so hopefully it looks good on yours. If the sound is messed up or anything, let me know. Hey Shelly, hey Carolyn, thanks for coming on. So I want to tell you the story I wanted to start with is how many of you know the name Howard Schultz, right? Let me tell you, Howard was born in Brooklyn, New York, and much like many people in his neighborhood, most of them didn't get a college education, but he ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Northern Michigan as a football player, right? More importantly than the football player, he was able to get a free college education. And with that college education, he graduated and jumped from a few jobs to different jobs to eventually getting a job with a housewares company called Hammerplast. And Hammerplast sold coffee makers, right? And when he took over this account, he noticed that there was one particular account that bought a ton of these coffee makers. And that company, he decided, wow, I'm going to go out and fly out to Seattle and meet this coffee company, right? And if you haven't figured out by now, this coffee company was Starbucks, right? And Howard Schultz is currently the chairman of the board and the former CEO. I mean, he's been the CEO twice, and I think he stepped down, and I think Johnson is now the new CEO. It's been a while, but I try to keep up with that. So if you haven't figured out, it's Starbucks, right? But let me tell you how that happened. So how that happened is he decided that when he flew out to meet with them, he fell in love with the city. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You've flown to a city and you're like, wow, I love this city. Hey, Katie, I'm fell in love with the city so much so that he decided to move there. And he loved Starbucks so much, the detail that they gave to the grinding of the coffee, the setup, the ambiance, everything. He fell in love with it, and he told himself that he's going to work for them. And it took him a year to convince Starbucks to hire him as their director of sales. And when they hired him, one of the things was they flew him out to see these different vendors that they got their coffee from. One of them was in Italy. He flew out to Italy, as a part of his position, and he noticed that there was literally a coffee house on every corner in Europe. You got to think Europe is a little bit ahead of us on some things, and this particular one they were. And he was like, there is just no way that this people drink this much coffee. And then he had an epiphany, and he's like, wait a minute, it's not the coffee. The coffee house is really a place for friends to meet. It's like the office away from the office. It's the home away from home. It's where people, go to relax and and be around people. It wasn't just about the coffee. And he got so excited when he flew back to Seattle and he met with the owners of Starbucks. He said, I figured out a way that we could take our brand globally. And the two owners said, hey, thanks, but no thanks, basically. We're fine, we're profitable, we're happy, we're happy where we're at, basically. And Howard was so convinced that this was the right thing to do that he had to make a choice. And the choice was, does he stay or does he go? So he decided to leave, and he literally built a coffee house down the street. I think it was called Ghirardelli's was the name of the coffee house, literally right down the street. And he started building this principle, which is Starbucks today. And a year later, he went back to Starbucks and he bought them for $3.8 million. And I guess, like they say, the rest is history. And today, Howard Schultz is one of the richest men in the world. Starbucks personifies the industry. I mean, it's a noun now. That when someone refers to getting a cup of coffee, they don't say, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. They say, I'm going to go get a cup of Starbucks. I mean, that's how much he affected the brand, right? And here's my take on that. Starbucks was able to achieve this goal based on a saying that Howard said. And it was, we're not in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business serving coffee. I'm like, wow, you know what? And that, you know, when I read that, I'm like, wow, you know what? What he was saying is 100% true. That you were always in the people business. No matter what business you're in, there are people that work at that business. You know, that you always hear that evil corporation, or, you know, all these people. But at the end of the day, a corporation isn't a person, or isn't a thing. It's just a group of people. It's hardworking Americans that work at United Airlines, that go to work on time, that have families, that do good things. And yes, there's such a large company that there are bad things going to happen. I mean, they take off and land, what, 100,000 times a day or something like that? It's just a crazy amount. So of course they're going to have. And one incident doesn't speak for the whole, you know, every person that worked at Starbucks, for every brand. Yes, in this case, maybe they could have done a better job in the front end, you know, apologizing to this gentleman. But at the end of the day, business is all about people. No matter if it's one person that works at that business or if it's 10,000, it's still people. You're in the P2P business, people to people business, not to the B2B, business to business, because there's no such thing as a business. Like, how does a business talk to a business? They talk to them through people, right? So that's saying we're not in the coffee business, we're in the people business. We're not in the coffee business serving our people business. We're in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business serving coffee. And my take from that is that that's exactly what I always say. You're in the marketing business, not in the selling your deliverable. In this case, it's coffee. Because you can't be in the people business if no people know about you, right? Again, it goes back to why am I on here? Get people to know me. I'm really in the marketing business just like you. And this is just a tool that I use to reach out to people and talk about, you know, things that I love to do, things that I do every day, and try to share those thoughts and at least give you a different perspective when you're thinking about, because, you know, we all find ourselves every year, we want to either our businesses, there's three things. Your business is either going out of business, it's flatlining, or it's growing. And if you dig deep into the weeds, the reason that the business is is declining usually is because you are the marketing, because you went on defense instead of offense. You took money out of your offense, which is your marketing, which is the people business. None of you would disagree. You're not in the people. You're in the people business, and you moved it over to defense. And you know, the stuff that you were comfortable with, your coffee, like getting better coffee, but you didn't tell people about your coffee, right? So always remembering that you're in the people business and focus on dealing with people, giving people. I mean, put it this way, and this is not something I came up with. You may have heard this. When someone goes to the store to buy a drill, right? They're not buying the drill. They're buying a tool to drill a hole. They want a hole a drill. That's why they're buying a drill, or there are a screw screwed in. So talk about the hole, not the drill. A lot of people talk about the drill, or they talk about, you know, them being in real estate. They talk about the house. Don't talk about the house. I mean, come on now. Let's get original here. If you see people in your industry doing things, don't do what they're doing. Do the exact opposite of what they're doing, because you just become noise then. So remembering that people buy from people, right? One of the things, so another little thing about me is like, how did I end up in this business? I ended up this business years ago when I graduated high school and never even knew it. When I graduated high school, basically my parents were like, you're going to have to find something to do because you can't live here for free. I'm like, what? And like, yeah. So it's like, at the time, I was like, college wasn't for me. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Many of you may have experienced this. Some may have chose to go to college, even having no idea what they wanted to do, but college was the answer. For me, I went to the military, right? So my mom drove me down, and then we had to take this test. I think it was called like an AFFAB test. You take this test, and then based on the test, they can offer you these different positions. So apparently I scored good enough that one of the things that they offered me when I came back, it was like, hey, we got this, it's an intelligence analyst. I'm like, oh, that sounds like some spy shit. I want to do that. It wasn't. But it was, one thing that it was taking small bits of information and being able to turn it into a story, that actionable story. For example, somebody could call in and said, hey, I seen a soldier carrying this type of weapon, right? So me knowing all about the types of weapons during that era, or what type, and all of those things, I could take and go, okay, I know what that is. Oh, that's a platoon, and he was carrying this weapon, and then they are usually supported by these type of people, and then they have this air defense, and then there's this radar unit, and that radar unit usually is going to be at the highest point. So then we get on a map, we find the highest point, and lo and behold, there's that radar. So it's kind of taking the small bit of information, forming a story, and then going and seeing if things match up to that story, right? So I was in this business before I knew I was in this business. Now you circle back around, and being in the marketing business is understanding who's the target market, taking a small bit of information that a company may have, database of all their ideal clients, and then going out and finding more of those people and sharing their the message of, we have the best tool to make that whole. That you need to make a whole, and here's what we're selling in the drill example. So that was it. I kept this because I found it. This was one of the certificates that I got when I was there, the Army Intelligence Center and School. I know that that's an oxymoron, putting Army and intelligence together. There's a lot of great people. And then I told this, and I didn't realize it until later, that one of my commanding officers was actually Michael Flynn. So I know he's in a little bit of trouble right now with the Russian issue going on, but that was back then, and that's now. So that was like how I started out. I didn't even know it, and that stuff was invaluable. It's once you learn something, it's hard to unlearn something, right? It's like you can't unlearn to ride a bike. So I have a show that I'm going to start. My sister has been is going to be my first guest. I want to make it her. Hey Denise, hey Sherry. I want her to be my first guest. And she's been so busy. She runs a physician staffing company, and she's been staying busy. But I want the show to be different than any other. There's a lot of shows. There's people like Patrick Bet-David, and he has Valuetainment on YouTube. Does a great job. Does some great content. Talks about a lot of things. And I was like, what? There's a lot of people out there, especially him, that's like content. I wanted to be a little bit different than him. And here's one of the things that might set me apart. A lot of people, and me included, I used to be so amazed when I would watch shows like The Voice, or American Idol, or what's the other show where they have the three guests, America's Got Talent, those types of shows, and you would see these people 12, 13, 16 years old, and they could do all of these amazing things. They're amazing pianists or singers or all of these things. And I thought, you know what? That shouldn't be impressive. You know why that shouldn't be impressive? Because that's the one time in your life that you're like a sponge, that you don't have many outside influences. You don't got shit going on. All you got to do is learn to do that. That's all you have to do. So what should be more impressive is if you have somebody who's 40, 50 years old, and then they decide they want to learn to sing, or they decide to do a career change, and they go and they do something. That is way more impressive. Because my daughter's 8, and she can speak 2 languages, right? And it's like nothing for her. And if you grew up in a household that spoke 2 languages, it wasn't that hard. But you ask somebody that's 18, 20, 30, 40, all of a sudden say, hey, I want you to go out and I want you now to learn a second language. Good luck. Good luck. That is more impressive. So if that gives you some kind of premises like, I want to speak to people, not the young, I mean, young people can certainly come on and be a part of the show. I think there's a lot of people who have had a job or worked in an industry who have a lot of information, a lot up here, and have always inspired to be an entrepreneur, felt like they had an entrepreneur spirit, but they just didn't have the guts to actually go out and do it. If taking those people from leaving and actually going all in and actually doing it at an older age takes a lot more, because you got a lot more fear, because you know a lot more about the world, you have a lot more bills, you have a lot more everything, a lot more responsibility, as opposed to someone who's 18. When you're 18, you have zero expectation, basically. Nobody expects that you're going to have money. Nobody expects you to know shit. Nobody expects you to have an idea on what you want to do. You have it's the opposite. When you're older, you have all these expectations put on you that you have to live through, and that is hard. So I think it's less impressive that a kid or anybody can do something that seems amazing, because they should be able to do that, right? I remember I could, back then it was like Atari. I was like, nobody could beat me at Asteroids or Defender, because I had nothing better to do. So it's less impressive. So that's a basic. If you want to, it's like, what is Randall's show going to be different about? It's like the All In show is going to be more about that, things like that, like dealing with those types of issues and convincing people that, hey, doing it at an older age, and what are some things that could help somebody move from doing whatever it is they're doing in their career and opening up and going all in on this entrepreneur thing. So that's that. So I wanted to give you some useful tools if you believe in the concept of you're in the people business always, and that you believe that if you're in the people business, you're in the marketing business. Let's say Preston. Going down the black diamond slopes was a lot scarier when I was 20. Yeah, maybe, because maybe, but we're not talking about you just doing something. We're talking, maybe that's you, but I think for the most part it wasn't. That it's not scarier. It's not harder for somebody to learn to ski when they're older. They haven't built these habits in their muscles to learn how to ski. Maybe they were scared, and maybe you're less scared as you're older, but the only reason you're not scared is because you've been doing it a lot longer. But I promise you, if you take an older person and a younger person and you give them the same coaching and the same, usually that younger person has a higher likelihood of being better at it, because they don't got shit to do, and they can practice more. So a couple of things. So I wanted to talk about some tools that we use around here to help build this story. Build your story, because everybody has a story. Everybody on this planet has a story, and everybody has a story worth telling. It's just they don't know how to tell it. I mean, you could take the same joke. I mean, we all have a friend who's like that dude, can't tell a joke to save their life. But we also all have a friend who can take a shitty joke and make it funny, right? And it's no different that Celine Dion can take the same exact words, or Adele, and sing them, and you move you almost to tears. But then you're, somebody that at a karaoke, you move you to tears because you want them to shut the hell up. So we all have stories, right? It's like, what does it say here? No way, I wasn't afraid to break my leg at 20. Beyond 20, I was worried I broke. Yeah, exactly. You're worried because you had bills to pay. You had kids to take care of. There was all these other things that when you were younger, you didn't. Excuse me. So, giving you a tool. I have a tool. I'm going to show you this tool. I'm going to tell you about this tool, and first I'm going to read you a story that this tool created, and all I had to do was answer. I think in this particular one, it was a lot of questions that I had to answer. But when the questions were done, I pushed a button in the software, and it generated the story that I'm going to read to you. I'm not going to read you all of this, But I'm going to read you some of it. It's a software, and it's totally worth it. If you've ever wanted to write a book, if you ever wanted to do a webinar, and you wanted to, or you ever want to write anything, copy, headlines, and marketing material, it's like paying a good copywriter is invaluable because getting that message right is important. And saying the right words in the right order and being able to deliver it right. That's a lot of work, and that could usually, I think a lot of us struggle with that, me included. But this software basically takes all of the hard work out of it, and basically just asks you questions. Who would you say is your target market? My target market are FSBOs, people who are currently living in their house. What are some obstacles that people have? And you just go and you answer, and then you push a button, right? The one that I'm going to read here is actually, it wrote this whole script. I'm not going to read it all. I'll read you just the intro. It wrote the whole script for a webinar that I'm going to be doing. And this was the video script for promoting the webinar, right? So I'm just going to read you, I'll just read you the first page so you can get an idea on how badass this shit is. And all I did was answer some questions. They call this your Star Story Solution script. So this would be, the script that I would read for a video to get people interested in my webinar. So it goes, hey, want to get more customers, want to build an email list, need to make more sales, and with less frustration. So why hasn't it happened yet? Come on, this is your first time trying to find a solution for your business with less effort. When you watch this video to the end, you're going to discover exactly how to get more business with less effort. Hi, my name is Randall Chestnut, and not too long ago, I was just like you. Let me tell you a quick story of how I felt overwhelmed when I got into the digital media space. I was struggling with what to do first, and I was getting more and more frustrated, feeling like I was running in circles. You see, at the time, I was trying to guide our business through a hard time. I mean, that's gold. I mean, if I read this whole thing to you, you'd be like, wow. And the software wrote that whole thing, right? And one of the things that it does is they call it the building blocks, right? So here's a sheet that I printed out right there. I'm going to hold it here for just a second. So the questions, like in this example, this was going to be a good ad if you were going to write a Facebook ad, right? So you can see here is they wanted to define the topic, the target, the outcome, obstacle, right? And the example that he has here is if somebody wanted to be an author, right? If somebody wanted to be an author, they would have to answer these questions right here. What is the topic? The topic is book marketing. What's the target? Authorpreneurs, because this ad is directed towards people who wanted to be an author but are struggling with it. So this is the copy. So you would go in here, you would answer these questions, right? And once those questions was answered, let's say you wanted to create a great headline, right? So it says how to and the payoff, right? So we go over here, we look at the payoff, and the payoff is royalty checks, right? So the headline would, how to get royalty checks without, and what's the pain, writing for weeks. See how I wrote that? It says how to get royalty checks without weeks of writing. I mean, that's just one example here. This is what's called a building blocks, and that was just a simple one. So I'm going to put all of this stuff in the comments section. If you made it this far, awesome. If you didn't, too bad for you. I know many of you are at work. But, a lot of people are like, man, no, I'm at work. I got other things I got to do. So that's fine. I'm going to invite a couple more people here before I get to this next step here. Because I know they don't have anything better to do. So I'm going to put this software that I'm going to send to you. It's called Funnel Scripts. It helps you write all these scripts. And that shit is super important, to write a great email, a great subject line, a great headline, a great Facebook ad, a video script, a landing script, things for your website, all of those, because I think those are things that all of us struggle with, is taking the words and putting them into a digestible, to say like, yeah, that's my story, that's my business story, right? So that software, I'm going to put it in there. And hey, I think it's $497. That's it, right? And he's like $497. Sounds like a lot of money. But if you hire one, because we do this, one copywriter for one article, for one campaign, you're looking at between $100 to $200, depending on the amount of words, but at least $100. So now you start thinking about, oh, if I was going to do a Facebook ad, maybe I was going to do some marketing material, maybe I was going to need to write a video script, maybe I was going to need to write the script for the actual whole webinar. The whole webinar. That is done for you. All you need to answer is the questions and then study that script and done. You're at, and then whatever your webinar is selling, you get all your money back, right? So I'm going to put that in there. So that's one tool that we use, right? I want to show you something that I think is awesome. How many people have heard of the Dollar Club, right? The Dollar Shave Club, right? Imagine this: if someone came to you and said, "Hey, you know what? I see an opportunity in the razor market to make $1 billion." I'm trying to get this that's not stuck under my chair. To make $1 billion and take on Gillette and Schick and these behemoths in the industry that have a crap load of money, right? And he said, you know what? The way that we're going to take over and we're going to do it is we're going to sell our razor for $1. What would you have said to that guy or that gal? You'd have said, you're fucking nuts, right? So I'm going to show you. This is also a tool that we use. This is just a magazine that we get sent, where they walk through and they what's called funnel hacking, where they go through a sales funnel, because every business has it, and then they break down the funnel, each step of this sales process, right? So if you're not familiar with the Dollar Shave Club, basically it's where you get their first. It's a monthly membership, and you can go sign up right now. If you're a guy or a gal and you buy razors, they're not $1. They're like $30 for a pack of them. And even if you bought that one that has the razor, the 3 packs, and then the razor, that's $12. So you got $12 right there. So what they do is they say, hey, go here, and your first razor shipment that you get, it's $1, and that's even including the shipping. They pay for that. So the first one is $1, and then the preceding months after that, if you stuck with that, is only $3. $2 for shipping and $1 for the actual razor, right? So you're thinking in your mind, like, how in the hell are you going to make money doing that? Again, it goes back to they're in the marketing business, the people business, right? They know that they need to get people first. They need to get your attention, right? Hey, what has Kim Kardashian done? What has she done? What is the value that Kim Kardashian gives, right? I'm going to tell you. Kim Kardashian and the whole Kardashian family, the value they give is they keep up with the trends, and they let everybody know, here's the trends. That's their value, right? And they built an audience based on that. And their mom was smart about that, because I think it's their mom that's really the driving force behind all of them and all of their brands. So anyway, so back to the Dollar Shave Club, right? How they took this brand and look, and they sold it. And this sales funnel made $1 billion because they sold it, right? How are you thinking, how in the hell did they make $1 billion giving away razors for $1? Because they weren't giving away razors. They were attracting people to their brand. And it's no different than you. If you sell houses, you sell hamburgers, you sell cars, or you sell whatever you sell, you need to figure out a way to get people interested in you and learning about you. And you have to do a good job of telling them your story. And if you do a good job of telling them your story, remember I told you half the people are going to like you and half aren't. So the more people that you can talk to tell your story, the more people that you get interested in your brand that like your brand, and the more people that like your brand, in this case, it's the more people that are going to buy from you, and the more people that buy from you, the higher your revenue goes. I mean, that shit's easy, right? It's like a no-brainer. But why do a lot of people in my business, in the marketing business, have to convince people that you need to focus on your dollars in the marketing side, right? I mean, look at me right now. I'm marketing, right? I'm using a tool. I got a business to run, right? but I put so much value in it. I give the one thing that's more valuable than anything. I give my time. I come on here and I'm going to share all of these tools. And if you use these tools and you use them right, you will make money. And you won't be struggling. You won't be the person going, where can I cut here? I need to cut there. Oh, I can't spend this. You'd be like the lady yesterday when I went to get my pants hemmed. And I felt so bad for her. I've been going through her for a long time. And, hey, I watched from the beginning later. Live video. Thank you, bro. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, thanks for coming on, Allison. And I went to her, and I was like, I felt so bad for her because I never see anybody in her place. She's just always sitting in the back watching TV. So I thought, you know what, maybe I'll tell a little bit about how Facebook can help her get business and how she could spend $5, and I asked her, how much money does the average person spend? She goes, oh, $20. I was like, okay, so $20. I said, what if you ran an ad for $5 and you got 2 extra customers every day, and it was $40, would you invest $5 in your business? She goes, no. I'm like, what? What? He's like, and no wonder she has no business, because she keeps telling the universe, I don't want more business. Because what idiot would ever say that if they're in business? If I said you take $5, and for $5 you get 40 back, how many $5 would you spend? A lot. And it's every industry. Every industry. Remember, half are going to like it, half don't. If you only tell 10 people, then you can only have 5 people that are even interested. And then out of the 5, maybe 1 will listen to you. And then you got to hope that 1 wants your brand. Why don't you tell 1,000,000 people, 500,000 people like you, out of the 500,000, you get 100,000 that you can contact either through email or on the phone, and have 100,000 you sell 10,000 people, whatever it is. That's how you make money. And if you don't believe me, look at how does McDonald's sell shitty hamburgers? How does Blockbuster go out of business and Netflix takes over? How does Sears go out of business and Walmart takes over? I mean, you just go down the line and look at these brands. They're not even that good. They're not even that good. How does GTE own the cell phone market and then all of a sudden they're gone? And now you have AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint because they advertise more. They advertise more. So back to this Dollar Shave Club, right? So this is the way they make money. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to help you out. This is how they make money, right? If you didn't know. So what happens is you land on this page and they go, hey, Ray, try our razors. It's just $1. And they tell you, like I said, you get this box right here with the razor in it, and it's $1. The first month is $1. And like, how do they make money? That box that they're sending in had to cost more than $1. That handle and that razor had to cost more than $1, and the shipping is not free either. So they probably in it for like $4, right? $3, $4, right? And you're giving them $1, so they're actually losing money, right? They ain't losing money because they sold this shit for $1 billion. So now you go here, and their core offer is this is a perfect Facebook ad, right? This is one of those offers you can't refuse. This is the offer that you need to make on Facebook. Not, hey, I sell razors, come buy my razor, because nobody's going to buy your fucking razor, right? So now, the next page, they say, hey, here's the process, and here's where the magic starts, right? So hopefully you can see this. So they got razor number 1, the crappiest razor they could find on the planet is the free one. And they didn't say it was going to be a good razor. They just said they're going to give you a razor, right? And they said, but if you don't want this crappy razor and you care about your face, you can get this other razor that has 4 times the blade cutting action. And that one, for the first month, is still $1, and then it's $6 thereafter that, right? Actually, each one of these razors, I'm sorry, let me back up. You choose this razor. In the first month, any one you choose, from the crappy razor to the expensive razor, that first month is still just $1. They pay for the shipping, they send it to you, and then you commit to an ongoing monthly, right? If you choose the middle one, it's from there. It's every month. If you stayed with that crappy razor, it's $1. But every month after that, if you get this middle one, it's $6, and then the other one, it's $9, right? So here's where they get you. So now you click on that, and let's say you want to get the crappy razor, and you click on the crappy razor, and it's $1, right? And they go, hey, oh, by the way, you might need this shaving butter, you might need the shaving cream, or the hair clay, and that's $8, $9, $10. See, now they're going to start making money, because now they have your attention. They've got you with this, and they know that if you shave, you're going to need this shit. Nobody shaves it really. And then they say, finish it up, right? And they go to the last part here, and they tell you, hey, this is it. And they ask you one more question right here. Optional travel add-ons. And they say a travel hair gel, a travel shave butter, and an extra razor handle, right? And there is a percentage of people who get these add-ons. They go, oh, I'm just spending $1. Let me go ahead and get that. Now I'm only spending $6. Let me go ahead and get this and this. And before you know it, they have now completed this order. Now they become a member. And most likely people are going to move away from that cheap razor, because who wants to rip their face off? Nobody, right? And now they are in their database. They have them as a customer. They could email them. They could do all these other things. And now you have an account, right? You have an account that you could always go into. And now they make you aware of all the other things that you could order and that you have. And they do it every month through their email campaigns, through their membership, alerting you inside of your membership funnel or whatever, right? So that is the Dollar Shave Club, how they gave away for $1 and turned it into $1 billion. So stop being so cheap and wanting to get people. You should damn near tell people, come and use your service for free, because it doesn't usually, especially if you're a service. I mean, what does it cost you to talk to somebody? Nothing. What does it cost you sometimes if you look at your cost, just make your cost their cost, right? It's like nothing. You get them in and they get to know you, like you, trust you, and boom, the rest is history. They did that through razors, right? Let's see what he says. And then, of course, right behind it, now you got the guy who's like the Dollar Beard Club, and he's doing the same thing. But the difference, the thing that I like about him, if you haven't watched these ads, is like, be a man, join the club, right? He's not, rarely in any of the ads does he even talk about the products. He just says, get this beard cream, but this what? But he is selling a lifestyle or a cult almost inside there. And that Dollar Beard Club, it's going to be $1 billion industry too. I mean, this guy's selling stuff, right? So that's the Dollar Shave Club. So I think you want to start thinking about, like, what are some things that I could do similar to that, right? Make this offer. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you some tools for free, like get you started out, right? This is my website. This is just a picture of it. But I'll put it in there. You can go to my website, randallchestnut.com, and that's, my name is, you can go to my profile and make sure you spell it right, .com. And there's actually 4 free funnels that you can start with. One of them is just a basic opt-in one. Another one is an auto webinar. Another one is a product launch, similar to something like that. And then another one's called a tripwire funnel. That's kind of where you take people from something that's free to something that's maybe like $5 to something that's like your core offer to something that's super expensive, maybe like one-on-one with you, $2,000 thing or whatever, all of that in between, right? So I got those 4 funnels for free. If you actually like the website, I made that available. You can download and have the full website and just edit it for your with your information, whatever. That's free. Also, the new book by Russell. It's called Expert Secrets. It's a book about saying that, hey, everybody has information in their head that makes them an expert at something that people would be willing to buy from you. And they do it every day. And he tells a story about, in there, how you can do that, how people have done that, what they've sold, and how they've went from zero to, millions of dollars doing that. So again, Randall Chestnut, I'm going to put all of this stuff. So I'm going to put where you can go to get the script funnels. I highly recommend it, $497 paid for it, and it'll pay for itself, I promise. You get the funnels. Now, the way the funnel works is we created all the funnels. When you go and you actually get these funnels and you download them, you get a free trial for 14 days from ClickFunnels. And if you decide to use it and like it, I think it's like $97 a month. And then they have this more advanced one if you build out memberships and you want to use its email service. It has a whole robust affiliate program, everything, and that's like $200 and something dollars. So you have the 97. But I promise you, if you build, you see what this funnel, because this is just a funnel, it made $1 billion. So don't be afraid of $97 a month. How many products would you need to sell to make up for the $5, right? So that's that. This is just actually just a book that shows you some, different funnels that have been created. Let's see here. He actually shows you one where it was like a giveaway for a knife, credit card, some lapel. A shirt place gave away cufflinks, right? It's like, well, they figured, hey, if you buy shirts, you probably want cufflinks, so we'll just give these cufflinks away because they're low dollar but have a high value. These are some of the things that we educate ourselves on, building out funnels. There's some of this stuff on there that we use these around our office. These are actually just stickers that you peel off, and we put them on the window or put them on your refrigerator, and kind of build out what we want the funnel to look like. If we were going to build out like a membership site, so here's what we would do on this page, and then here's how many emails and this and that. So these are cool. You don't have to draw them. Let's see what else do I have I wanted to do. Oh, hey, and if you don't mind, if you think that this would be useful to somebody you know, please don't be shy about sharing this. Like and follow, all those things. So I wanted to do something. So if you don't know this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's an entrepreneur. He's big into self-awareness and social media. I'm going to give this book away to 5 people. 5 people. The first 5 people that go to my Randall Charles Chestnut page and follows me, shares this video, and then it puts a comment in here, and then screenshot that you did the comment. I will send you a copy of this book. First 5 people. The first person who does it, I will also include the book that I wrote, Open Your Mind and Let Doubt Out, and free pizza. It's a free pizza. Who doesn't like pizza? So the first 5 people that do that, I will mail the book to you. I'll announce those people. The first person gets the book and a pizza. And that's it, right? Hopefully that was useful. I know the video's long. It's like, good Lord, Randall, how long are you going to talk? I was like, I don't know until I tell you everything I want to tell you. And you don't have to stay on, and you can always watch it later and digest it or not digest it. Look, look. Now, if you watch this video, you are now educated on things like this, right? Don't. If you are struggling and you want to be that person that has an impact on other people's lives, it's not always about the money, right? But your business is always about the money, because businesses do not survive without money. It's like oxygen. And for you, yeah, you can think you don't need oxygen, but hold your breath or go underwater and see how long you live without oxygen. But it's not always about money. It's like, if you get the money, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. You can give it to charity. But it's more about you feeling complete and giving people things they thought they could never have, or making their life easier, or those types of things. That's the enjoyment. And then giving people a great place to work. So it's more about those things. So if you choose not to use the tools, I'm going to post it in here, not investing in yourself. I mean, come on, you invest. If you get the script funnels, that's $497. If you end up downloading one of the free funnels that we have, and then taking the website and maybe turn it into yours, and so now you have that, and then building a funnel that sells or offers your product, and then all of that type of stuff, you're not investing in yourself. If you can't invest in yourself, who will you invest in? I mean, come on. Spend some money on yourself. And I don't mean shoes or purses or a four-wheeler or expensive car. Invest in here. Ben Franklin said, empty the coins of your purse into your mind, and your mind will fill your purse full of coins. Man, that's powerful, right? Spend some money, invest in yourself. I mean, if you don't care about yourself, you can't expect other people to care about you. So hopefully this was useful. Like, share, comment for somebody that you think would find this useful. And I'm going to put inside the comments there, I'm going to put a link to all the stuff that I talked about. So I'm out.